and welcome to another Biddle on Saturday night. What's going on, everybody? We got a full house already. It's awesome.
Hi, everybody.
Thanks.
Hello, everyone.
Good evening.
Come on, guys.
Colin's got his audio working right off the bat, or almost. Nobody's seen that part when he first came in.
And we got Das Geek in.
Yo, Das Geek.
What's happening, man?
Ryan, what's going on?
Hey,
Look at all these beautiful people.
I know, right?
Goodness.
Well, I'm glad I don't fall into that category then.
Well, everyone but you.
Now
You're beautiful too, Dark One. You're beautiful too.
Oh, evil.
I'm evil. No compliments. Let's go back into the cave.
Starting the train already. That'd be awesome.
Nice.
so what's going on, everyone? I'm on Budgie. That's why I was struggling to get Budgie, Arco Linux Budgie. That's why I was struggling to get my sound going. I hope my sound's all right. I hope I'm not blasting anyone's ears out.
That's good.
Yeah. That's good.
Nope.
No worries.
Was that the Arco B one or the Arco D one?
No, that was the D. So I run all the scripts and everything and install it that way. And also, what else did I do? Oh, yeah, I run some scripts to install the one of the Budgie applets as well, I think it was. So, yeah.
Nice. The problem I have with Eric is he is so flaming clever that I was trying to do an Arco D install, and after script number 972, I thought, you know what? He's got a script for every video he's got out there, so I thought, no, I'll just stick Arco on. It's so much easier.
Oh, my gosh.
So, yeah, but no, it's good stuff.
Well, why don't we start there? Why don't we start with the Budgie woes? Because it sounds like a lot of people had issues. So
Really? Is that right?
Well, Colin, what did you have? What did you do, and what issues did you have?
So I run the Arco Linux D. It was quite good fun running that, and I've been trying to use the Git clone a little bit, get used to that. So that's a little bit of fun. But I can't get the Clockworks applet working, which is all those clocks which has different times. It's there, but it's not actually showing up on the panel, so I don't know why that is. So, and I had to Git clone more Budgie. I think it was Budgie applets or something I did. Someone's got sound on. Someone got sound? Must be sound.
Frank, check your YouTube.
Yes, you just got the sound running in the stream. All right, continue on, Colin.
Yep, but besides that, it's actually not running too badly. So I'm reasonably happy with it, the way it's running at the moment. I haven't tried all applets, but it's running to a point where I'm reasonably happy with it anyway, I must say.
Nice. Seb?
Well, I'm a little bit frustrated because before I threw a paddy and whacked my machine about a week ago, I had Budgie, Ubuntu Budgie, working. So I was sitting there yesterday for me, but Saturday for you guys, thinking, oh, I got Biddle tonight and I haven't got Budgie working. So burnt a CD. I can't make going back. burnt a USB. Went to install it. Nothing. Can't get it to work. Can't do anything. So I thought, salvation. I've got Solus. So I dived onto Solus. Installed Budgie desktop, installed the other 42 Budgie, whatever the word Budgie was in there. So, fantastic, it's working. Can't get Zoom working.
Really?
So I've gone to the other unofficial challenge, and I'm on KD on Neon Beta on 1804. And it's
I've
working.
not heard of beta. What is that? What's beta?
It's a beta.
That's
It's a version of beta.
That's an English code word.
English code word.
Alpha, Beta, Charlie, Delta.
Beta? What do you call it? Beta? Is it what you guys call it? Beta?
It's a beta, Colin.
It's
That's not
beta.
a beta.
A-Y-T-E-R.
Well, yeah, I think Aussies and English and the UK are very close together in our pronunciations and our English. But you guys
Well,
are
I
a
hope
little
so,
bit.
because England is in the UK.
What did I say? Australia, did I?
You said no. You said English and the UK.
I meant Australians and the UKs and the Brits or whatever it is. Yes, that's what I meant to say. So yes, they're very close with pronunciations.
Let's make it the universal language and just call it the test distro.
Test distro. No, that's no Joe. That's no fun, mate.
Hey, Matt. Matt, can we get you?
No, it's a beta, and they only take donations in squids.
Can we get you and Frank to switch so that we can have all the bearded guys down at the bottom?
Can't you just move them around?
They're too powerful, you know. Oh, look at all those beautiful beards.
Keegan.
Well, you know, Ryan can't grow one, so, you know.
Man. Really?
Yeah, I went there.
I mean, I'll admit Keegan has the most glorious beard on here.
Yes,
but,
yes, he does.
I mean, but what would we expect, right? He's from Tennessee. It's something in the water in Tennessee allows you to grow a beautiful beard.
It's Velcro.
Every morning he wakes up, but
So then if Michael comes in, then we're going to have bearded, baldy, and baby hair when we put Rocco, Michael, and whoever else.
baby hair. I like that. Look at all these baby faces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Joe. What do you think of Budgie?
Me?
Yeah.
Remember, I wasn't here last week.
Oh, there's no excuse, Joe. There's no excuse.
I didn't get a chance to watch anything. So, yeah, my son only got married, so I just,
Yeah, it's just family.
Yeah, you should still have time to test distros.
I mean, really, you had all week. I
I'm
mean,
lucky I put a report out for the week before. I said,
and we talked about it. We did. We talked about your report. So, Wendy, you weren't here last week. Did you try Budgie at all?
Well, I had actually tried it just before the challenge and had to jump right off of it again. It took me 4 times to get it installed.
Wow.
And then once I got it installed the first time, I messed it up by trying to add my drivers for my graphics card too soon. So I ended up having to reinstall it, which took it another 3 times to get it installed.
so Wendy, does that mean that you've just been the first person to do budgie jumping with distros?
Budgie jumping.
Well done, Joe. Well done.
Wonderful pun.
If the operating system doesn't bring people, the jokes will, you know?
Right?
Wendy, which version of budgie on what?
Yes.
I was Solus. I was doing
Solus.
Solus. Oh, okay.
Okay,
You
that
gotta-
explains a lot right there.
That explains it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to run your updates
Completely
completely on. Sorry?
What was that?
You got to run updates completely on Solus first, I believe, before you do anything.
That's what I did
because
the
they're-
second time.
Right, okay. They're way behind on updates at the moment, so yeah.
Well, no,
So
they're
I got all the
they're not
updates done.
Yeah, carry on, Wendy. Sorry.
Oh, so after I got all the updates done and my drivers installed, then my computer wouldn't turn off the way it was supposed to. It would hang up. It would tell me, I'd get the text screen and it would tell me that it was powering off, but it would never power off. So now I'm on Fedora 28 with KDE.
There you go, Ryan.
Yes, we got another convert. To the
Did you notice it said KDE, not GNOME?
Yeah.
It's okay. Fedora, you know? So how you liking Fedora, Wendy?
Oh, I love it. But Fedora's been my favorite, or at least a Fedora base, since I started playing with Linux a couple years ago.
Nice.
Fedora's my go-to.
Finally, some more in the Fedora family.
Moving on real quickly. Barb, did we get you to try it?
Well, what I did was I made a live USB and I tried it.
Yep.
And it was okay, but I did
Which version did you try, Barb?
Ubuntu budgie.
Okay.
But the thing is, I just don't like the way it looks, and everything seemed cat. Hold on a second, I got to remove a cat.
Wouldn't be Biddle.
Welcome to Biddle.
I'm ignoring him, so he's attacking me.
Oh, I love it.
Cody's back. You're gonna get locked out of the room.
We learn Linux and we train animals.
Yes, we do.
Some would say Linux is a bunch of animals.
Yeah, it is.
Some might say that.
Cats. My cats are like the Wendy. You don't realize it, but my cats are our comic relief here. Anyway, So I played with it. I did use the live USB as Matt suggested, because I'm not going to mess up any system that's working perfectly. And I just didn't like it. It's okay. I think some of the terminology, to find things took me a while, didn't make sense. It was not intuitively obvious. It really wasn't. I wouldn't say it would be something for a Linux newbie to use. And I just didn't like it. I didn't like how it looked. It would have taken me forever to get it to customize it for the way I do things. Maybe I'm just like the stick in the mud and like Mate, and that's it.
We all have our preferences, though. Yeah. I mean, really, let's be honest.
Well, I would say you have a point in the fact of maybe settings area. It's not the best or easiest for a new user, but I think just using the computer, I think it would be fine for a new user because the defaults on it are really good. So everything is where it's supposed to be or where you would think it should be. And
the live USB, everything worked. I could actually scan something and I could print things and connect to my file server. So I would assume that if I had installed it, I would do this. I would work the same way, since it is Ubuntu anyway. It's Ubuntu based, so it shouldn't be a problem. Because all those things are coming from Ubuntu that work.
Right.
Well,
so, I don't know. It's okay. I mean, it doesn't suit it just doesn't suit me. As I said, I'm a Mate stick in the mud.
Now, I think there's been quite a few experiences. Dave, you had a tremendous experience with Budgie, didn't you?
I had a wonderful time. I downloaded Solus. I figured, Solus, Budgie, good. After 3 tries, it would not install onto my rig.
Wow.
Don't know why. So I went to standard Ubuntu Budgie, figured that'll work. I got it installed. Then I had to fight for 2 hours to get my NVIDIA drivers up and running on it. And I got them up and running, and it wasn't bad. It would take some getting used to. I didn't dislike it. It's just different. So I wasn't crazy about how the settings were divvied out in different places and different menus. That it wasn't intuitive for me at all to try and figure out where to go to get everything set up the way I wanted it. And then I got it up running. I was like, okay, this is good. I'll come back to it later. Went to go back to my Peppermint install, and Ubuntu Budgie had acted like Windows and overwritten the EFI partition on my Peppermint drive, even though I told it to install to its own drive.
Ouch.
And so I have spent the rest of the week trying to rebuild my butchered Peppermint install that Ubuntu Budgie I cannot get the X server settings back so that anytime I try and get any kind of Xorg config file set in, it just won't boot into my session. I have to leave it all defaults for the NVIDIA drivers, or I can't even get in. And that's what I had to do just to get in here tonight.
Cool.
So 2 questions for you. You said that you couldn't get Solus installed. Where was it failing? Was it failing during the install, or where exactly was it failing?
It would, when I would try to load from the USB drive, it would get to the grub menu for the USB drive. I would click on Start Solus, and then just black screen, nothing.
Wow.
NVIDIA, by chance?
Yeah, NVIDIA drive.
Yes.
Yeah.
A real card, yes.
Wow. Yeah, it really sounds like a real card. Sounds amazing.
Team Green. Team Green.
So just a quick question, Rocco. Wendy's got NVIDIA too, has she? Is that why she had problems?
Well, where did you get with the installer, Wendy?
I got all the way through it. It took me multiple times. In order to get Solus on, I had to go in to the partition manager of Solus on the live USB, completely wipe the drive, reboot, and then install. That's what it took to install Solus.
And have you got NVIDIA?
I do.
Right.
Well, Dave, going back to you, you said about it destroyed your. You said Ubuntu Budgie destroyed your EFI. Did you try it after you install or tried to install Solus?
Yes, but it installed fine. It as Ubuntu, it installed fine. But when I went into my BIOS and reset it to boot off of the Peppermint drive, then the grub for Ubuntu came up and not for Peppermint.
Correct.
So I had to go into Peppermint through the grub menu for Ubuntu Budgie, and once I was in Peppermint, I had to reinstall grub from Peppermint onto the Peppermint drive to get it to come up properly again.
Yeah, correct, because it's an Ubuntu base, and every single Ubuntu uses the same named grub. So if you start off with Peppermint, you've got Peppermint. If you then go to Kubuntu, you've got Kubuntu. If you then go to Ubuntu, you've got Ubuntu.
No.
Budgie,
I have them on two separate hard drives, and I go into my BIOS and switch which one it goes to look for.
Yeah, but
and
how many?
So I told Ubuntu Budgie to install the bootloader onto SDC, the third drive, and it installed it onto SDA.
Does SDC have its own separate EFI partition?
Yes, it does.
Wow, then
That's weird.
naughty.
It acted like Windows, and it just took over the entire system.
Did you remember to check down in the? I'm assuming you use the partition manager. You check because I've done that too, where you select it, but then you forget to go down and make sure you're selecting the right.
Nope, because in that third drive, I have 4 different operating systems installed on it. So every time I'm installing something other than, off of my Peppermint drive, if I go to another distro and I install it on that third drive, I specifically tell it to go to that EFI drive for the third drive. Because I have 3 drives with operating systems, one for Peppermint, one for Windows, and one for all the other distros that I hop to. So I am very careful about which EFI I tell it to install the bootloader to. And then I go in my BIOS and tell it which disk to go to the EFI for, so that, if I do updates, they will update correctly to the correct EFI.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Maybe we should have done Lubuntu, because that didn't do that.
Speaking of,
speaking of that though, Rocco, I think on your challenges, because you have so many people who jump in and do these challenges, which is awesome. We should also include a link to the bug report for every time we do a digital challenge. Because imagine how much help we could give the developers by everybody providing their experience with all this.
The bug report's the video.
Starting with the link to the video, I did end up sending in 2 bug reports to them.
How about the developers just watch the video on Big Daddy Linux Live? Isn't that easier?
This is their new ticket system.
Yes.
Some developers end up having to watch these videos because you people don't report bugs. Like
who reports bugs,
That's what I'm
Simon?
saying. Watching the video is easier.
Hey, Colin, your mic might be a little bit loud, brother. Just so you know.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Right? I said, we
But-
reported a bug to you 2 months ago about Pulse Audio, and you disappeared.
Yeah, you still haven't fixed it, Simon.
Test it with Debian's version.
Yeah.
Did you?
Oh, so you're waiting for 2
I
months
asked
for
this
the patch
question
to
the
get into
day you
Debian.
guys started harping me about it.
No, Simon, we asked you to rewrite Pulse Audio from scratch.
We did.
We wanted you to make a new one, the Simon Quigley Audio applet.
He is correct.
He's got you there.
And I know it would work if you would take the time to actually sit down and do it.
Dolphin Oracle in the house.
Hey, how's it going,
Dolphin.
guys?
Hey, I got some little guys back there on the shelf now.
Oh, they made the shelf, huh?
Nice.
Brilliant.
All right, so let's continue on. Dan, did you fare any better with Budgie?
I guess I did. I did Solus Budgie, and I had a better experience than most of you. I'm actually still on it right now. This
Wow.
laptop is
Okay, so hold it right there.
I got a laptop. Yep.
Hold it right there. How many right now in the chat are on Budgie right now? 3. Wow. Okay, that's how it fared. Okay, continue on, Dan.
All right, so that worked out well for me. And since I've been running it the whole week here, I've noticed that the repos seem really fast for things that you install, but obviously not everything's out there. So that was kind of a challenge. There was a couple of things that I was looking for, and I ended up trying a flat pack of something, and that bombed miserably. What else? The built-in theming is nice, and as long as that's what you want, that's great. But it's like a set it and forget it. Just the built-in stuff is beautiful. The theming is consistent throughout. I haven't really noticed anything that's doesn't match. I even went to the website, and that looks nice too. And at first glance, it seems like there's a lot of information, but there's a lot they're trying to update too. And I found I verified that basically from the GitHub page, where they're starting to do pull requests and stuff. So I think they're working on it. But if they're already there was a couple of things that were a little behind. So I worry, as they just did their Hackfest. So hopefully they get that stuff documented as well.
So on that, it's kind of interesting is the folks who maybe in the chat can say who are on Solus and were successful with Solus, what your GPU was. Because I'm assuming on your laptop you have an Intel or an AMD?
Yeah, it's Intel. Yeah, it's Intel.
And so maybe the issue is anybody with NVIDIA, maybe there's an issue there with Solus. Because it seems like the NVIDIA people so far had problems.
Maybe.
Solus installs every single time for me, and it's the single fastest. No, I nearly made a mistake there. It's the second fastest installer I've ever encountered, because the fastest is MX, without a shadow of a doubt. But Solus, for me, installs every single time in under 2 minutes. And I've got NVIDIA. And someone in the Telegram chat gave me a real big tip. If you're doing a new Solus install, drop down to the terminal to do the updates, because it finishes in like 5 minutes rather than 40 minutes if you do it through the GUI.
Yeah.
But NVIDIA just rock and rolls it perfectly for me.
Yeah, the GUI is a little slower, but it I read the same thing, but we're trying it out, so I had to do the UI, and it worked. It finished. It did its thing. I rebooted, and I'm back. So I was wondering. I mean, we got 532 packages that the thing wants to download. You cross your fingers every time.
Right. Matt?
I tried Budgie on Ubuntu and Solus. I went with both. I tried it on the Sony Vaio Duo that I have, which is the interesting piece of hardware. And that was basically any GNOME session or GNOME-based distro I found makes the optical track point that it uses not work at all. So, takes that out of the equation. I ended up installing it on a HP EliteBook 2560 that I have. So, normal hardware for those that think that all I have is oddball hardware.
Did you loan that from somebody?
No, see, regular hardware.
Mm-hmm. And so how's it run on that?
Digital.
I wasn't going to do the Tux Digital plug. I'll leave that for Michael if he shows up. My biggest thing is I'm running Ubuntu Budgie on this. I didn't have a problem with the install. It's an all Intel system, Ryan. So there's your answer to that. It runs fine. It's typical like GNOME based, so I think it runs heavier than I like personally. But everything functions. The only thing that's a little wonky is like I enabled dark mode in the settings, which you have to dig for. And all the applets have a dark mode, except for the networking one. So when you hover over the networking one, go to select the network, you have this giant white blob of UI that looks so inconsistent. So Rocco, I'm being you on this.
That sounds great. I probably would have found that had I enabled the dark mode, but I didn't enable
I do find it funny that dark one, you enable the dark mode probably on every distro, don't you?
I was gonna say, you knew where I was going with that.
I wonder if that's a different toolkit kind of thing or different version kind of toolkit, because I know different toolkits, GTK2, GTK3, Q, they all have different themes. Some distributions try to make it consistent, others had to figure that out.
But some of the applets don't necessarily work, like Colin had mentioned. That is definitely a thing, because I use the system monitoring applet anytime I use Ubuntu Budgie. Some of the other ones don't work. The global menu one's a little wonky as far as how that works, and just once you start customizing it to the way they let you customize it, that's where you really start falling off the wagon with it, I think, as far as just like my use case anyway.
Was that with Solus or Ubuntu Budgie?
Ubuntu Budgie.
Okay, because Solus is direct from the source, they're curated rolling, while Ubuntu Budgie sort of has a slower release cycle and pulls that all in. So, if you're running Solus, you're probably going to have, at this point in time, a little bit of a better experience if you're looking to tweak every little tiny element of it.
Good to know. Seeing how I'm an Ubuntu guy, because all my machines right now run Ubuntu, I probably won't run Solus anytime soon until they probably roll out Solus 4, whenever that might be in the next 2 years, according to Ike.
I'm curious to see why you're waiting for Solus 4.
Something about 532 updates every time I want to nuke and pave a machine. I go through machines. I go through machines like there's no tomorrow. So
I don't think that's going to be a thing that changes with Solus. It's a curated rolling, so every Friday, I think they're still doing it on Fridays. They just release all the updates that are in the developer edition. So it's going to have 500 updates sometimes. I don't think that's necessarily going to change.
No, Solus, when they bring out a new disk, there's a lot less updates because they're up to date with everything anyway. That's normally the way it works.
The default disk versus just regular updates. I would agree that they need to do an ISO respin.
That's where I'm coming from with that.
That's what the Solus will be.
I am not a fan of the nuke and pave. I nuke and pave too many machines to sit here and want to update every time off the base ISO.
And I think they've been asked about that before. They've been asked, why don't you just do an ISO respin? And I would think that every time they do a repo sync, they should sort of do like a daily ISO spin, but they don't apparently believe in that.
Well, do like MX do, and they bring out their monthly the monthly new ISO that you can download.
But I think we're talking about two different things here. We're talking about a period rolling releases that just boom, everything goes into the stable release every week. So then if it's that infrequent, whereas if you have like a rolling distribution and you're just doing monthly snapshots, well, you could update to that state at any time. I guess my argument is that Solus should adopt a policy where they respin an ISO every time there's new updates, which for them is once a week.
Well, even if it was once every couple months, it would be better.
Yeah.
Right. Even if it was once every couple months, that would be better than nothing. But that's what I think they should do.
But they were right onto it. They used to be. I think the first couple of releases were pretty consistent, but this is the longest I think they've gone since they started. And I think they had a direction, and then it kept changing, and I think that's what's happened. And they keep trying to push as much as they can into there before they do the Solus 4 respin. And I think that the thing that's holding them back is the Budgie 10.5. They were going to do Budgie 11, I think, but that's not going to happen for a while, I believe, because they were talking about doing QT, and I don't know whether they've changed their mind on that or not. That's another thing. So,
but Simon, from a developer standpoint, I mean, I'm sure Ike or any developer, you're not really gearing your releases based on people who hop and then leave and go on to the next distro. So releasing a new ISO every week, I would think they would be more interested in just the people who are going to download it, install it, and stay than people who are like, well, I've got to do 500 updates. Well, you wouldn't if you weren't hopping every 5 minutes, right?
I would disagree that that's still something, I would still disagree on that, because if they constantly every day were releasing updates into the stable release, for example, like Ubuntu does, or Debian, or any other distribution, well, I wouldn't say any other distribution, but a vast majority of other distributions, then I would say yes, do it less frequently because you're always putting new updates in there. But for how infrequently they release things from the unstable version to the stable version, they could just have the latest ISO up there, maybe have the second latest ISO there somewhere. But, I really think that with how infrequent they sync, spinning up a new ISO would be beneficial.
But that's one of the probably the biggest complaints I've got about Ike, but it's also his strongest point, because he is purely focused on Solus and doesn't give two hoots about any other distro out there. The number of times I've gone in and said to him, why does Solus not play nice with all of the other grub installs? Because you install Solus and I can't get any other operating system to boot from the Solus menu. Now, maybe that's because I don't understand System D.
Doesn't it have its own boot setup and stuff? I mean, it's not using grub.
No, it's using something that used to be called Goofy Boot, that's now called System D.
It's the same thing Pop OS uses that messes up every system, operating system you have as well.
Yeah, there's no way I would feel confident personally enabling that. System D. My opinions on System D are mixed. Let's not go into the whole System D argument, because I'm sure somebody in here has opposing arguments to me. But my personal opinion on System D works good most of the time, but there's a couple different modules of System D which don't quite work right. The two that I know of specifically that I've never been able to get work absolutely right is System D Network D, which is it screws up DNS. It was released in Ubuntu and enabled in Ubuntu by default, in my opinion, a little bit prematurely, because there's a lot of corner cases that haven't been tested yet. Plus, I think it was a rewrite of something that they didn't entirely understand. The second thing that I have a little bit of concern with is System D boot, because I've heard stories of like you said, it completely wipes out it completely wipes out the ability to boot anything else. I think this is just another example of, in my opinion, System D rewriting things that they don't entirely understand. Not to say that all of System D is a hack, but I would say that there's specific elements of it, those two specifically, where it's a hack,
Well, JP in chat asked you to go ahead and rewrite System D as well while you're working on Pulse. I think it's a brilliant idea.
I think it is.
So, Rocco, for the record, I remember on this show several months ago, when it first got released, Solus 3, I think I did try Budgie. And actually, if you remember right, I think the one complaint I had was I was having trouble with Steam and trying to get gaming going on it. And that was it. I said it was one of the most fast distros, Next Time X, that I had tried. And as far as the dual booting, I don't remember having issues with that. I do remember it was an easy install, but it seemed like, to me, didn't he fight even snaps for the longest time? And then he's finally coming around with that and stuff. And, he does things in his own way, his own time. But the thing is here's the problem is, in one breath, you're right, Ryan. It's not designed, if they're not doing it to plan on somebody who's going to hop all the time. But the other side of the coin is, okay, you have a bad experience with them out of the box. Their updates or fixes or whatever take forever to come out, and you forget about it and you don't want to come back to it or even try it again for maybe a year later you might think about it.
I just don't know how Arch is really any different. Every time I install Arch, there's 398 updates.
But that's with
but they do respins every month.
Yeah, they do respins.
Welcome to rolling.
But there's still 398 updates, even if they do respins every month. So
they're constantly releasing updates. No, that's the point that I said earlier. If they're constantly releasing updates, of course they have to keep producing a daily of sorts, like in their case a monthly. But if it's Solus and they're doing it infrequently, they should at least You know,
That's why it's called rolling.
Frequently, or is it just because
You can just check and look at the updates on the ISOs itself.
I'm sure
what I'm complaining about is the current base install for the ISO has not been refreshed for a rolling release like Solus in a long time. That'd be like going 6 months.
Is there any way to tell how long it's been? Can anybody look at the
It's
ISO?
been more than 12 months easy.
Yeah.
It's definitely been more than 12 months because I promised myself I wasn't going to go back onto Solus until it went to 4, and that was more than 12 months ago. And I've been waiting for it.
So what you're saying is the same ISO that I downloaded last year is the same ISO I downloaded this week.
100%.
You still have the ISO.
Your base. My complaint is.
Yeah, that could be a problem.
It was the end of the year, if you remember right, Rocco, was when we were all doing our predictions. And what we were gonna
I don't remember any predictions. Okay, so
I was going to say, I think
Moving
you were
on.
trying to install something like
I don't
Lightworks.
remember any production.
Yeah,
predictions.
I don't
I'll pull the
remember
clip
them
for you guys if you want.
Okay,
Yes,
so
please do, Ryan.
Ryan, did you end up trying Budgie this week?
No, I didn't try Budgie. I can't. I'm trying to stop distro hopping.
Good luck with
I'm
that.
trying, and I've been good. I mean, I've stuck
Get him
with
out.
my Fedora and my Mint, but I'm trying to stop because it's just I'm finding at this point in my learning sequence with Linux that the hopping isn't helping me. It's hindering me because I spend more time just installing distros than I am actually learning anything new. So I've done the whole run, right? I've done the Gentus, I've done the Arches, I've done the Ubuntus, but now I just want to settle down and actually do something in the distros. But by next week,
overrated,
I'll probably
dude.
hop again.
That's
But
overrated.
That's my goal because I
Sounds like
feel
a
like
quitter.
I'm not learning anything new right now by just hopping.
You should wait
There
until
will be some help for Ryan.
I was going to say, Ryan.
Why did you just kick me off the show, Rocco? That's ridiculous.
Wait, we have to mute Ryan for a second.
I was going to say, Ryan, I'm pretty sure you have enough machines that you're still going to jump around distros on.
Ryan, I think we're having some audio issues. We can't hear you right now.
Can't use audio cable again.
I love it. It says you are unmuted by the host. How dare you, sir?
So, Colin, did we
That was
talk
awesome.
about your Budgie experience on camera, or was that before the show started?
Sorry?
Did we talk about your experience with Budgie?
No, I was the first one to go. I got in first. I don't know how that happened, but
Yeah, how did that happen? All right,
I don't know.
Keegan, did you try it?
I tried it.
And
And he's leaving it there.
I did Ubuntu Budgie, and it was pretty buggy, not budgie, buggy. Ubuntu buggy. And,
Ubuntu budget.
after dealing with a whole bunch of apps crashing and stuff like that, I decided to curious and put Budgie on top of Ubuntu Studio, which ran even worse.
oh my,
So I needed something to work, so I just put MX back on the machine.
there you go.
You guys are like stereo each other.
So I'm looking down the line here, and I don't see many people that have had a good experience with Budgie this week, except for Dan.
This seems like a change, though, Rocco, because I remember when we tried Solus Destination Linux episodes, we were hopping and we all jumped on it and we loved it, and it was a great experience. And it seems like something's happened between then and now that
And the
things
same
aren't
for
as stable.
Ubuntu Budgie.
Yeah,
The same for Ubuntu Budgie. The last time we
Yeah.
tried it on the show, it worked perfectly.
I
It
think
works
it's
perfectly
Budgie
for me.
desktop. That's the problem.
I've got my Toshiba laptop here that's always can be problematic all the time, but Ubuntu Budgie runs well, and that's got NVIDIA, but I don't install NVIDIA drivers because it's a real problematic mobile NVIDIA. So, but it just runs fine. So I don't know. That's real. I'm surprised to hear all this, to be honest.
Yeah.
Frank, you said were you saying you have 3 machines that you tried it on?
I tried it on 3 different machines. I tried it on an HP laptop with AMD graphics and had nothing but issues. I tried it on an older machine with NVIDIA graphics and they install fine. It's just when you get to the updates and you go through the updates, which are slow, and I blame it on the Solus servers, that you run into problems. But I finally got it to work on this Dell Centrino machine, and it works fine, and everything works great.
Wow.
So if
Great.
you want to run Solus, get a Dell.
But I will say this: after I jumped to this Dell machine for the Solus budgie, I decided to play around, and I put Ubuntu budgie and Manjaro budgie on the HP laptop, and I had success with the Manjaro, but for some reason, budgie does not like certain hardware. I don't know what I know it's distros, but for some reason I had more trouble doing budgie on that laptop and the other computer than I have on anything else.
Wow.
That's why I think that a lot of the problems are budgie, are not necessarily the distro that it's sitting on top of. I really think it is budgie. It is budgie, and I think because they pulled it back, Ike has pulled it back. They're now. I don't think they're really working on anything except maybe the Solus version, and even that one, from what is kind of creepy.
Well, I would have thought Ubuntu budgie's up to date, because I thought they released 1804 before they pulled it back, wasn't it? Or was that? I thought it was after.
It was after they pulled it back after 1804 came out, if I remember correctly. And that's the one I installed.
Before the point release came out, though.
Yes, before the point release. That's a good point. That is a good point.
And that may be part of it, because I was using a point release.
That's what I was too.
Right.
And that fixed a lot of things for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I just didn't like it. It worked. I tried it on a ThinkPad 420, and I tried it on my XPS 13. I did the live boot, and it was fine, but I just didn't like it. Neither one of them have an NVIDIA card. I should have tried it on my old big clunker XPS 17, which has an NVIDIA card, but I didn't.
So Dolphin?
Because it's getting flaky, so I wouldn't be able to know if it was budgie or not that was causing it to be flaky. It's old.
I got to give everybody a caveat. On my system, I have one monitor, one keyboard hooked up to a KVM switch, and I can hook up different computers to the same monitor, so I can switch between computers very quickly, so it doesn't bother me.
Dolphin?
Yeah.
Did you try budgie?
Actually, yes.
And?
I did not install the latest budgie. I installed budgie that is in the Debian repo on top of my MX install. I actually have. I'm not running in the budgie environment right now, but I have it installed on this machine. I kind of liked it. You know what? I hit the Windows key, the menu popped up. I could search for apps. I like the sidebar thing with the audio switcher built into it. That was nice. The only thing I didn't like, and it's kind of weird. All of a sudden Google Chrome started asking for the GNOME keyring every time I turned around.
You got auto login? You auto login?
Well, yeah, but I've had auto login for approximately
that happened with me with Chromium.
8 years. Apparently, it's a GNOME thing, okay? And budgie, particularly the budgie that's in Debian, because it's older than what's in Solus and Ubuntu.
It's a feature.
It is a feature. It's a GNOME feature. No, and it's because budgie's built on top of the GNOME stack so much that it wants. Basically, GNOME wants you to use GNOME keyring, and it's going to do it whether you really want it or not. So, strictly speaking, not budgie's problem unless they've taken care of that kind of thing in the future. It's a problem of GNOME desktops.
But can't you simply alter the launcher for Chrome or Chromium so that it doesn't ask for it? Isn't there just a simple add-on that you can put at the end of it to say ignore the keyring, and then it just works?
Well, yeah.
Nah. You can?
Yeah,
sure.
you can,
Yeah.
You can also go into the GUI and just tell it not to store passwords, which also works. I use LastPass, so I don't care about if it stores passwords or not. So that's what I ended up doing. On my other box, on my other machine that I also have, I put budgie on 2 different machines, put it on one of the junkers and then my main machine. The other one, I just removed GNOME keyring to see what would happen. And it was fine. And then we were working on a side project this week, me and Adrian. And actually, Adrian, I'm just testing some stuff. But It turns out if you remove GNOME keyring, Network Manager doesn't give you the prompt to put in your password for Wi-Fi. So that's why they're all there.
That's good.
Hey,
You can edit. You can edit it in the connection manager, and it's fine. It all works. It just the actual prompt doesn't come up when you do it. We were pulling our hair out. I was like, what the heck? But
Now
at
you
any
said
rate,
you loaded it on top of your MX on that machine, right?
yes.
See, to me, that's a little bit of cheating because you put it right on top of a good solid distro to start out.
What was I testing, Budgie or everything else?
And
Yeah,
an
I
old
know,
solid
but
version
still,
of Budgie,
you
too.
had a little
That's okay. We didn't
What?
require this.
I was going to get the Ubuntu Budgie, but my test partition is currently full with Ubuntu 16.04 because I'm working on an app image for our live USB maker, and
Ooh,
I
nice.
needed a system. I couldn't take. Usually, I would just nuke that partition, but I couldn't take that partition off because I actually need it. So I just threw it on top of MX. So that's what I had.
Yeah.
And the other machines are they don't really like to run Ubuntu.
Well, Dolphin, do you recognize a compliment when you get one, though?
Oh, well, yeah, thank you. I should have said something about that.
well, Carl
I went
Snyder's
with what I could fix if something broke.
Carl Snyder is not here tonight as of yet. 'Cause he's on the West Coast, so he may get here yet. But I didn't get his input. Usually he'll send me something and say, hey, this. But he was going to try one of the. He was going to try Manjaro Budgie, I think, or one of the off ones.
Manjaro, yeah.
But I ended up trying Solus, and I gotta say, I mean, I love Solus and I love what they're doing, but it's 2018. Can we please get a distro that can boot without having to go edit, grub, and put in no mode set? Really? I mean, to have to do that nowadays, like, seriously, how many distros? Zeb, you tried distros all the time. Colin, you tried distros all the time. How many distros nowadays do you actually have to do that for to get them to boot?
I haven't come across one for years.
No,
Yeah.
no, I haven't for a while, to be honest.
And that's very, like, that's just sad. I mean, like I said, I love Solus, but to have to do that in this time with all the Linux distros out there, that's pretty bad.
Wait, why do you got to use no mode set?
In order to get a black screen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
As soon as I boot off of the USB,
Install.
as soon as I boot off the USB, it'll come up and it'll just give me the black screen with the green little lines going across. Boom. That's it.
That'll be the NVIDIA card, isn't it? That's the reason.
It's NVIDIA.
It is.
Yep.
Which is strange because I've got an NVIDIA and it doesn't do that to me.
Yep.
Yeah,
But we know
How
why.
old is your
my
card?
older machine with a very old ink
Card?
never does that.
It's a 1080, so it's not that old.
And mine's
Yeah.
a 1060, so it's not that old either.
Right. Huh. But it's
So it
might
just
be
depends
a
on the
little different.
hardware.
Yep.
That's really strange.
But I did do the no mode set. I got it installed, and everything was fine. Like, there were all the apps that I needed were there, or
But-
I could get them installed. But that's, well, I mean, like, okay, but that's what I'm saying. Like, everything was fine. That's all I got. It was fine. I mean, there was nothing. There was nothing like earth shattering.
I thought you were leading up to something, Rocco.
No, that's it. That's all I got. It was fine. I mean, like,
That was fine. I'm
It's
getting
what
really
you've come to expect out of
anxious.
Solus and Budgie, basically.
there was nothing. Okay, so there was no applets. I mean, as far as the Ubuntu Budgie has, so
Yeah.
that lessened everything a little bit. And the settings. Dave, you talked about it, and a couple other people talked about it. Having to go to 2 or 3 different spots for settings is really frustrating. Even though I know where to go to get them, I mean, I know how to get to them. And it's still frustrating. I can't imagine for a new user how frustrating it must be.
Absolutely. They should be in one place, and at least they should have a different icon for the 2 different settings. You got the Budgie settings and your normal settings, which are the GNOME settings. They should have different icons as well. They both got the same icon.
Yeah, that's.
And
Well,
and
in,
they should
in Ubuntu Budgie, in the menus, in the pull-down menus, they do actually have different icons.
do they?
The Budgie specific apps have their own little Budgie icon that's different from the regular settings. in there. So I could tell the difference in the pull down menus. It's just a matter of remembering which one had which setting that I wanted to change.
Well, it's like the Raven menu. The Raven menu used to be really good, okay, because everything was in it. But it's kind of being stripped out.
There's not much
everything. There's not much in it at all, and it's kind of like now it's almost a waste. So if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna put like the Solus settings in the Raven panel, then you should put the regular settings to get to the actual desktop environment settings there as well, so that you have it at least put the shortcut in one place.
Well,
so
I was going to say,
so maybe we're hearing why there's maybe not a new spin of an ISO for Solus for so long, because it sounds like there's a lot that's kind of weird about it.
I agree.
They pulled that stuff.
Arco Bungie, Manjaro Bungie, and Ubuntu Bungie all do different things to their menu settings, so it's not intuitive to know where to go in each one, and that would confuse a new user, especially if they use Solus. Solus, I wouldn't recommend this for a new user at all.
Yeah, we went through a growing pain similar at up front, where we had settings scattered all XFCE. The XFCE settings itself end up in the XFCE settings manager. But if you've got other tools that are settings type apps, it didn't automatically suck those in. You gotta do some work to get those back into XFCE settings manager. And we did that with 17. Who's the guy on YouTube?
Linux and other stuff, Dave.
Yes, Dave. Yeah. Linux and other stuff. He's always ranting about the XFCE settings manager, right?
Yes.
So I just watched all his XFCE settings videos and sat down, and every single app that he dinged someone else on, I made sure it was in the settings editor, settings manager.
That is such good stuff there.
See, Simon,
if you look through the comments,
these can be useful.
If you look through the comments, you'll in some of his videos, you'll see me going, "Oh yeah, we did it because we listened to you." You know, it's not, sir. But it takes a lot to get in there. Like there's no Awesome Mixer icon in Debian. It's a command line app. So we added that so that it would show up in the settings manager. I would assume you got, with Budgie being built on top of the GNOME stack, maybe it's something similar where it's just hard to get all that stuff consolidated into one place.
Could I ask what you actually did to get all those settings in there?
Massive shoehorn.
We learned how to edit XFCE XML menu files.
Okay, so it was just editing the XML file.
Well, yeah, what we did is we just made it include more categories.
Got it.
Including our MX category. That's how we get the MX tools in there. The MX, we have our own categories for the MX tools, and we just make sure the ones that are appropriate end up in there too.
Would you be able to send me a link to what exact categories you include in there, or give me instructions for how to find?
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it here while we're on, and I'll zap it to you in the IM.
Okay, sure.
I did, Dolphin. I did tag you last night on Telegram because I was watching Linux and other stuff live last night. He's trying to create his own distro, and he was having problems with Compiz. So he's hoping that you watch his video because he might want a bit of help on that.
Oh, I'll check it out. I haven't seen it. He's always having trouble with Compiz. So
yeah.
So wait,
he doesn't like our implementation of Compiz. I'll just be straight up about it. I don't know what he's doing, but he doesn't like it, and he refuses to use it the way that it's set up to be used. So
he couldn't even just get it working. He couldn't even get it working. So
I'll watch it.
But see, that's why MX is probably so successful too. I mean, that's smart when you think about it. When you're taking, because how many times we said it, there's always seems to be something missing out of this distro or this distro, and what you're doing is you're listening and seeing what's missing, and you're packaging it all into one place, and
we do
probably going to have the super distro, when
yeah,
it's all done.
But somewhere along the line, the review here for Budgie versus Solus, part of that Solus's problem, part of it's Budgie's problem, right? And I know they're related, but they're kind of sort of different. And let's not forget that Ike's been spending the last couple of months moving back to Britain or whatever. So I mean, I'm guessing. I know when I moved across town, it took a lot of my time, and I'm guessing moving across an ocean takes a lot more time than that.
Yeah.
No, I don't want it to be a bash fest on Budgie or Solus.
No.
I just think that there are issues, and it just shows that there are issues with as many people that have had problems with it that never used to have problems with it. Like, you would never get a group of people, as many as we have in here, and 75% of them had issues with it.
Yeah, and going back to the Raven menu, there's some of the stuff that they actually had in there and had working at one point, and they've seemed to have pulled it out, because that's where I ended up on the web. Was I was looking for how to enable the workspaces, and that's where the instructions are, old, and used to be able to do that right through the menu settings on the Raven menu. And
I
that's
thought
how-
I read somewhere, or there was some discussion that that eventually the Raven, that whole thing Raven was just going to go away.
Well, the way it is now,
I think I remember that from
the way it is now, Barb, it wouldn't be a big loss.
Yeah.
I was gonna say almost what they're doing now is it seems like they're trying to, even though he doesn't like the Python applets from Ubuntu Budgie, it almost seems like they're trying to do what Nitrix does with KDE and the implementation there, where each applet is essentially its own pop-out menu from the side, because that's kind of what Nitrix does. So maybe that's something they're doing.
Last year, we were all raving about it as one of the top distros out there, and sometimes I think you actually got to go a little bit backwards to get better, and maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe he's just—I don't know. I haven't seen much of him lately, and maybe that explains why he's moving and stuff. So, I think he could have, and I think we'd all agree with this, he could have one heck of a nice distro if he can get some things in line here, because it was probably right up there neck and neck with, as far as the installer goes, with that Max. I mean, he said that earlier, and it is true. It's one of the fastest, and it was so snappy and stuff. But yet, and I remember trying the Mate version of it too, because I'm a Mate freak here, and I remember that thing even had glitchy issues with it. It wasn't right, but. So, and the other thing I didn't like, and I know he's doing it because it's his own thing, but I am so used to the apt, command line. I didn't like his little, command line.
EOPKG, I think it is, or something.
Yeah, it just seemed like too much to try to get a command going.
Well, I think it's because he had said, somebody had asked him about that once when he was still on late night Linux, and he didn't like it. That's why. He just thought that it was better.
Well, you can combine it all into one command. Basically, it does a repo sync and an update all in one.
Yeah.
Well, I think the best thing you can do. Oh. Sorry, Wendy, go on.
No problem. If it wasn't for my power off issues, I would still be on Solus. I loved the installer when I finally got it installed, and I loved how clean everything looked.
Yeah.
And the audio management on the side was beautiful.
That's nice.
Absolutely fantastic. So if my machine would power off properly and suspend properly, I would still be there.
Right.
And that probably has to do with the driver.
Yeah, that's probably in the video.
Probably. And if I had more time and didn't need my computer for work, then I probably would have taken the time to figure it out, but I needed it to just to be able to get work done.
You need a distro hopping machine, Wendy.
Yeah.
I do. I don't have one. I need one.
I think for the longest time, their main focus has been the software center, and they've been updating that for quite a long time now. So I think that's where a lot of their main focus was. And they did take a few things out of the Raven menu to make way for the music controls. I think that's what they did. So the music controls are now in the, and I think they were looking at putting a weather in there as well. So I think that's why they took everything else out of there.
Well, I think we're in a transition period where we're going to see it come back and be better. It's just right at this present moment. We're taking a snapshot of it, and it just needs some work.
Yeah, and that's where 4.0 might be all that much different and be the thing.
I gotta like a guy's sense of humor though that'll put out an update with version number 3.99999.
Yeah, and just keeps going.
I just love that.
Adds another 9 every time somebody mentions the 4 and his 4 coming out.
I can just see him sitting back and going, "Oh, what? 999, add another 9."
But I will
on the podcast because his personality is just so much fun. He
Oh,
is
yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, he took a break from social. He's not even on Telegram and stuff anymore. He just got a nuked and paved all the social stuff. I think he's on G Plus as like the Solus poster, but that's about it.
Yep. Well, you guys mentioned the sound applet in the Raven menu, and again, I'll have to say that I do have issues with that working all the time, where it'll work fine, and then it'll go along, and I have 5 audio outputs, and 3 of them will be checked all at once, and there's no way to uncheck them or check another one. They're just there, and the only way to fix it is to reboot.
Right.
So I have no idea what that is. And
I haven't experienced that before in Budgie, to be honest. So that's a new one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a perfect spot for it.
Sound sources, Colin.
Sorry?
Do you have multiple sound outputs?
No, pretty much just my microphone and the headphones, pretty much. So that's so Rocco's got you, hasn't he?
I've got a bunch here because I've got my mixer, so that's got outputs, inputs. It does it, does that, and then you got the built-in laptop stuff too. So it was nice as far as switching back and forth and getting your default input and output and stuff. But
well, this doesn't happen right away. Like I could boot up the operating system and it'll run fine for a while. In the next day or so, that'll happen, and it's a perfect spot for it. Like GNOME has, if you have the extension for it, you can just pull down the menu and switch your output. So opening the Raven menu and switching the output is great, except for when you can't.
Yeah.
So is this
that's
just the Rocco effect?
Yeah, it is. Of course it is. You know it is.
GoFundMe hardware, Rocco.
No, we're trying to do that for Michael so he can actually get a real microphone.
Yeah, right.
So that was the Solus one you're referring to, is that right, Rocco? Is that the Solus? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I don't remember. I can't say 100% that it happened on the Ubuntu Budgie, because I did run Ubuntu Budgie for a couple weeks, but I can't remember if it happened on there or not.
Right.
All right, so what is everybody... Okay, so there's only 3 people on Budgie right now. What is everybody on that they're not on Budgie?
Well, I'm on the KDE Neon beta.
That's beta. Is that...
Sorry, no, I'm on the KDE Neon test.
The test ISO.
The 1804 one, right?
The 1804 one, yeah. And it's just like, for me, it was just like KDE Neon before and Kombutsu before that. It just works.
Yeah.
So there's nothing new, Seb, or nothing stands out at all?
You see, when I use a distro, it takes me months to find all the clever little tweaks and tips and bits and pieces. Because, I mean, I install a distro and all I want is Steam and OBS. That's it. So I'm very, very simple to get working. I don't have any audio problems because the first thing I go in and turn off all the audio outputs to my 3 monitors. I turn the audio output to my webcam off and just have my microphone input and my main speaker's output. So I never have audio issues because I just turn all the other stuff off. So unless I sit there for months and months and months going through the menus, I don't find this new fancy stuff that everyone, we've done this and we've done that and we've changed this and we've got transparent menus and we can do all these clever things. I'm like, really? This is just working fine. Where's all this hidden? I'm not that type of tester.
That's the first thing I do. I look at what the changes are, what's new, and I go and play with them to see whether they actually work and whether they break or whether they're annoying or whatever. That's what I like to do. Actually, one problem I did have on this budgie here, Rocco, and it's a shame Michael's not here. I made a launcher in Menu Libre for the Windows Shuffler. That's what I downloaded through GitHub, was the Windows Shuffler. And when I go back in the Menu Libre, I can't find a launcher. It's in the menu, but I can't find to edit it in Menu Libre. It's not there. So that's really weird. It's like I created the launcher in Menu Libre, but it's not there. So if I wanted to delete it in Menu Libre, I cannot find it to delete it, and I cannot find it to edit it. I created a new one. I called it number 2. They both show up in the budgie menu when I search for it, but I cannot find it in Menu Libre. I don't know what's going on there. That's really strange.
Even, I mean, were you using the search option or were you just looking through the menus?
No, I looked through the menu, then I went to the search option because I thought I'd gone crazy because I knew I'd put it in a certain area. Well, I know I was crazy a long time ago, but I thought I'd, gone over the edge. But I did the search for shuffler, window, and all that. It's not there. It's just really strange.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Tim in the house.
What's going on, Tim?
Hey, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
How is everybody doing this evening?
Good.
Great.
Fine.
Yep.
Doing good.
Nice
We are discussing Budgie and our distro challenge. Have you tried it lately, Tim?
I did not do the distro challenge. I knew I wouldn't have time to. Budgie, I've used it on Solus. I used, for a short time, I used Ubuntu 17.10 Budgie.
Yep.
And I tried 1804 Budgie just to kind of see the improvements, but for whatever reason, again, having problems with 1804 based stuff on my one particular machine. Just kind of had to scrap that whole process. So yeah, I've got some familiarity with it. It's a good desktop. Looks nice on Ubuntu.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just definitely in a transition phase right now where some of us here have, well, I think only 3 people are running it right now, Tim.
Well, to answer your question, Rocco, I'm still on my home base Ubuntu Mate 1804.1.
Well, Dolphin, you were talking earlier. I think that it was actually Ubuntu Mate that does that categorizing in the settings panel where it automatically adds that stuff. It automatically adds things when you install them to the settings menu. I can't remember what programs I was using for Mate when it did that, because I was actually surprised that I saw them in the settings and not, in the menu itself.
Yep.
Yeah, it's quite possible. I mean, I don't remember this being a big deal back in the GNOME 2 days with the settings manager stuff, as it seems to have gotten down the road. XFCE is you just got to know how to put it in there. Dude. By the way, I'm like Colin. I check XFCE all the time for new stuff.
How's that going for you?
Well, I haven't found anything yet.
I was waiting for that.
Actually, well, you know us, Debian and XFCE. What are we going to do? But
they're still working.
Actually, I have a lot of test. We have a lot of the backport is the new stuff in our test repo, and I have quite a few of the new tools installed right now, including the new settings manager for the displays, which is supposed to handle displays better. But I only have one display, so I haven't been able to try that yet.
Just ask Rocco to test it.
I can't ask Rocco to test displays. It
works well. It does
just
work
wrong.
well. I've tried it.
You're welcome, Rocco.
But I have been. But we were talking about the menu. I see in the chat here that he's off the screen now. But I think Shadow www Shadow says that Libre may have added a file under user share menus or menu. So it may not be a desktop file. I don't know how Menu Libre works exactly, but maybe it edited as some XML instead. I don't know. I don't know how Budgie's doing their menu, but there's usually 2 ways to add a menu entry. You could either edit some menu XML someplace, or what we do with our menu editors, we just make another desktop file, and that tends to be fairly foolproof. We just throw it in your home folder.
Well, I want to know where Derek is, because if you want to have somebody that will habitually break a distro on you, that's the guy to find out, and he'll do it.
My favorite all time is still when he did Annex 17, and he immediately went to the SID repos and he just nuked everything. And like his stream goes down. Like it's like the first time anybody's live streamed Annex, right? And he's up there and they're live streaming, and he's got the desktop up, and the whole freaking thing freezes. Yep.
And he just keeps rolling with it.
He just keeps on going. And he's like, well, I can't type anything. I can't check the chat, so I'm just going to keep on talking, I can't really change the theme. I can't modify anything. And I'm into the chat going, he went to SID. Just like every 10 minutes I'm putting in the chat, he went to SID. Just ignore him.
He updated to what we tell him not to do.
Yeah, he did exactly what we tell him not to do, which
His
is
toys
just
are broken.
coats all Sid.
He's like the guy. He's like the hero in the movie that gets shot 12 times and he's still limping along.
Oh, he's totally Bruce Willis. That's why he shaves his head. No, he's going to jump off Takamumi Tower or whatever that is.
Yeah.
Die hard one of these days.
But Dolphin, I'm in your boat. Like, I'm actually running 1604 on everything right now, just because I'm just to the point where I just want my stuff to work. Like I have the Nuke and Pave machine, but like at this point, like I literally installed it because I had the Sony Vaio running Chaos for a while.
Yeah,
and that was an interesting experiment.
But
I went to 1604 and literally, like you, I just installed a bunch of snaps for the apps that I need, and I don't really care about all the shiny bling anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just want a menu. First thing I do when I look at another desktop, and I'm looking at 2 right now, because my partner in crime, Adrian, is working on a couple of, shall we call them unofficial spins, okay? Yeah, I was going to keep them secret, but I just checked the Twitter feed. He's gone ahead and tweeted that he's working on KDE.
Yes, I love it.
It's still Debbie and KDE. Don't get too excited. We're 5.8, I think it is.
Oh, that's terrible, dude. You got to update
Well, what
that.
do I say? Well,
Hey, isn't that an LTS release either way?
I don't know. It's KDE. I don't know.
Well,
he called me a little
512?
while ago, and he said everything's looking like GTK crap. What's going on? And I said, well, probably because I'm overriding all the Qt settings because XFCE is a GTK distribution. So we fixed that. But so he's doing that. He's doing LXQT too.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool. I got to admit, Simon, got you a little props there for LXQT. I have one suggestion.
Yeah.
From the usability standpoint, is that when you hit the menu key and you get the menu, okay, and you search, that when you close the menu, the search window blanks.
Ubuntu dailies. That's fixing the Ubuntu dailies.
Nice, great.
It's fixed.
Because that is the most annoying feature ever.
Yeah.
Have that search
Ubuntu
saved.
dailies are iterating so quickly nowadays that if somebody, it's funny. I'll see someone reviewed on YouTube or whatever. I'll look at the date of it. It'll be like a week or 2 ago, and I'll be like, fix that, fix that, fix that, fix that, fix that.
Awesome.
Nice.
That was really the only thing I noticed, LXQT. I was pretty happy with it. We're like I said, there's going to be 2 unofficial spins. It'll be made with our snapshot tool, so they're not going to be official releases because they're a little different. But they should hit in testing here soon, as soon as SourceForge decides to serve up the files.
Okay. I was going to say you use SourceForge, but I think they've gone past.
Hey, some of us don't have giant billion-dollar corporations backing us, man.
Everybody can use one.
Servers cost money, man. There's like you get like 30 mirrors automatically with one link. I know, but ever since the transition, the SourceForge has been a little flaky, so it comes and goes.
But in LXQt, I've been backporting some of the patches from upstream after testing them. In fact, I'm running the Ubuntu daily right now. We've added a variety of features that really, really polish the experience. I'm really excited for this upcoming release because we've gone through and tweaked a lot of different things that we're just becoming feature compatible with a lot of different desktop environments.
Well, yeah, I mean, the desktop itself still moving forward, right? I mean, it's you're still making the transition from LXDE. It's not just
right.
You're not just making another Ubuntu. The desktop's you got almost more of a soulless budgie situation going on where you got to drag the pieces along.
Yeah, right now it's kind of funny because the dailies only use LXQt, and all of our LTS releases are in LXD, so we have to maintain the LXD releases.
Yeah.
Backward bug fixes, try and figure out things that we aren't actually running on our production machines because it's a completely different code base. Of course, we have users, and of course, we have it on different machines, but our main development machines are running LXQt, completely different code base.
Yeah.
So, Simon, are you telling us that should be this next week's challenge? Is the daily?
Not yet, though, because like I said before, about if somebody reviews it literally within a week, if something's wrong or something's not working, or they make a comment about something, it's completely changed the next week. So I would like to have a distro challenge, but let's wait until feature freeze hits, which is at the end of this month.
Okay.
Now that's 1710. I'm sorry, 1810. That's going to be the first LXQ release.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, I think it's probably. I mean, I'll help Simon out. I don't think it's fair to hit him with a daily just yet, but
yeah. But
I do daily. It's good fun.
Right.
Zeb says you should add more themes.
So, never mind.
We've already had a conversation on Telegram, and Simon's going to be addressing that. But I'm going to hit him with the next big one yet, because it's the single biggest thing that bugs me about every single distro out there.
What's that?
HIDPI.
High DPI.
It just doesn't work anywhere.
I don't personally have a high DPI monitor or any machine that's capable of 4K or any monitor that's capable of 4K. So I submitted a request so that maybe Canonical can send me one. I'm going to see how that pans out, but if it doesn't pan out, I have different methods, different people I can ask, but that is going to be a goal of mine.
Come on, Mark. Let's shake something out for Simon. Come on.
Right?
Hey.
Talking to you, Shuttleworth.
I don't know. The high DPI on Kubuntu worked for me.
Right, because I think KD Plasma, they've gone through and tweaked everything for high DPI, and it's really, really polished. But for me and for other LXQ developers, I'm not sure we necessarily have high DPI monitors to test on.
This is the thing for
I
me.
volunteer.
When I had my big, ridiculously huge 43-inch 4K monitor, HIDPI didn't exist because everything was just so huge anyway. But now I've gone down to two little small 27-inch 4K monitors. Everything is just pinpoint small. It's ridiculous in size. So
get better glasses.
You go along.
Wow.
You go along to the settings, and let's say you set it to 2 times. Well, basically, all you've done is you've changed yourself from a 4K monitor to a 2560 by 1440. So why not just change the resolution? Because you've now no longer got the beauty of all that desk screen space because it's too small. So what I've done now I've got 3 monitors in front of me now, and they're all running 1440, not 2160, because everything's just too small.
I think the only problem we're going to find is LXQ apparently can do high DPI scaling. OpenBox, we still use OpenBox by default. We're working on something that I'm not publicly ready to announce yet, but we're going to replace OpenBox in one of the next couple of releases. And
it's just us here, Simon. You can tell us.
Right. There's nobody watching.
It's
going to be awesome.
I will tell you it's Wayland based. That's all I'm
going to say. Well, then that's just screwed 95% of the NVIDIA users.
Yep.
Because NVIDIA doesn't work with Wayland.
There's a shot across the NVIDIA bow. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been told there's a workaround for that. So we'll have to see. I'm still talking with people. I'm still in talks, but something's going to happen with that. So if I can get OpenBox to work correctly with high DPI scaling, I might have to monkey patch it, which it's what happens when you maintain a code base like that. I might have to monkey patch it. If I can get it to work, I will. But obviously, we're going to end up replacing it in the next couple of releases. So
nice. So I look forward to playing with the dailies then. That'd be cool.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I'll try them out too.
Well, Zeb, here's a question for you though. Out of all the distros and all the desktops and all that stuff, what would you say has the best high DPI scaling currently?
KDE.
Yeah.
KDE, 100%. Yeah.
Try
the thing with KDE as well. Most others you can go 100%, 200%, 300%. KDE, you can go 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. You can just tweak it up little bit by little bit until you find that thing where I can now see the writing, but I haven't lost a lot of real estate on the desktop.
What about Monte, Zeb, the 1804 Amante? Because that's supposed to have it in here. I've got a 3440 by 1440, and yeah, granted it's smaller than my my 1920 by 1280.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with 1440.
It's not so tiny that I can't see it.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with 1440. 1440 on any desktop works really, really well. It's when you go 2160, I think is the next
Yeah,
the next one up.
It's when you go full K.
It's when you go full 4K. That's when it becomes ridiculously small.
Well, I have a question. Why go 4K when you can't really see 4K?
Because I used to have a 43-inch monitor, so I could see it.
Okay.
But I never knew.
Right.
I never knew that HIDPI was. I used to think, well, what's the matter? It's working. I can see everything. Of course, not realizing that my monitor was this big, so everything was huge anyway. And it's only when I went down to the reason why I went down to the two smaller monitors is because the big monitor was just too wieldy. It was just huge. It was a ridiculous purchase. But hey, we've all done them.
I was gonna say, even what you're talking about, Zeb, like even when you go down to like the smaller, like even like the high full HD screens, like I'm running with the Surface Pro 2 here, I still have to do scaling on it because it's on a 10.6-inch frame, and the scaling on it is just too small because of the screen size. And I use Unity, so like you, it's kind of got the same thing with KDE. It's got the fractional scaling as opposed to the full 1, 2, or 3. But for me,
the other reason why you go 4K monitor is when you watch movies in 4K, it is awesome. It's
great content. Yeah.
Not many movies out there in 4K, but when you find one, it's really, really good.
Life on the edge, the bleeding edge.
Uh-huh. Well, if Ryan was here, he would say he's on the bleeding edge with Fedora.
Zeb, how much heat would that monitor throw? Because actually, I still want to go to a 43 because I want to get rid of multis and be able to divide them up into 4 sectors. Did they throw a lot of heat? Did that monitor throw a lot of heat?
What, the big one?
Yeah, the 43.
No, surprisingly, these two little Aces pump out a lot more heat than the big one did.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
And it was a monitor, not a TV.
Right.
It was a proper Philips monitor. But no, these ones at the bottom here, these Aces, they are red hot. So I don't know if there's anything wrong with them, whether it's just a design fault. But I noticed when I was moving them the other day, because what I got really excited about the other day was I turned around and looked at the monitor that I normally do my work on, and I suddenly thought, hey, that looks like an identical height size to my 2 new monitors. So I've now got the setup where I've got a 34-inch widescreen in front of me with the 2 27-inch either side, and they match up almost perfectly. It's fantastic. Right. What I'm going to use it for, I don't know, but as you say, it's just bragging rights, and I've done it because I can.
Yeah.
All right.
3 monitors are awesome. I love having 3. Everybody should have 3.
I would love to have 3. But I talk to people, like I'll talk to my dad and he'll say to me, why you need 2 monitors? I can't imagine what he would say if I had 3.
When you have 3 though, I've got 3 here too, but when you get, I don't have the third one running right now on this machine, I got a different one, but when you get used to it and you want to drop something off to that side and you got something running over here and you want to have your workflow in front of you, that's when you miss it.
Yep.
That's a funny thing, Rocco. That's what people ask me when they come inside my apartment and see my 3 computers hooked up to the same monitor. And they go, why do you need 3 computers? Because I can,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I run a simple life. 1 computer, 1 monitor. I'm happy.
Yeah,
I'm glad my life is not that complicated.
Well,
What's
to
that,
be
Joe?
honest,
I said, but does it work?
One's Windows.
Sorry. Thanks.
And
Thanks, buddy.
Oh, I'm just teasing you. I love you.
Yeah, my the Chromebook works great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we have to pick next week's distro challenge. I mean, maybe we should just make it KDE Neon because me and Zeb have it installed already. So that would be really easy.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, didn't we? I think.
No, we did Kubuntu.
I've got the USB in my laptop ready to go. It's just sitting there.
Well, I'm going to say that KDE Neon is probably right now. Did Simon leave? Hopefully he left.
He'll come back.
It's probably the best KDE implementation right now, without crashing, without issues. So, and this is the 1804 base. So,
So
what
Katie-
what
okay.
version of the Neon did you download?
It was the preview ISO for the 1804 release. So it's not like official. I don't think that's official that it's out.
It's the what they call the beta. I think it's the
It is a beta.
It's the beta testing ISO beta.
No, it's a beta.
Beta.
But so I've tried Kubuntu, I've tried Manjaro, I've tried a couple different ones on KDE, and I keep having like sort of the same issues that I was having for months that would just drive me insane. And I've been running Neon for probably 4 days now and have not had those types of issues. Not saying it's perfect. One thing I'll say is that the super key does not work for some reason. Not sure why. Not sure why that's a big deal to me, but that's a big deal because you
got used to it actually working.
Yeah, exactly. But other than that, I mean, it is. I've had the least amount of problems with it. So,
well, there's a Netrunner rolling out right now too. It's a Manjaro-based rolling edition, and they actually just announced that they have some updated KDE packages.
Well, Manjaro KDE was one of the ones that I tried, and that actually was the worst experience that I had as far as crashing, where everything just started crashing, including the bug reporter, including the logout. What is it? The session manager, whatever it is. So I couldn't even reboot the machine. I had to actually, shut it off.
Well, why don't we do what we kind of did this past week, where we just pick the desktop, which is KDE or Plasma. Sorry, Michael, and just pick your base. Do you want to do Ubuntu? Do you want to do KDE? Neon. Take your pick. I think.
Well, the only problem I have with that, Matt, is after a while we're going to run out of desktop environments.
Well, pretty soon we're going to run out of distros too.
Well, not if we continue like on a one basis. You know what I mean? Like
Montana Linux.
I mean, if we just do KDE by a month, we're going to have KDE, GNOME, XFCE, and all of them done, and then we're just you know what I mean. So I think it would be better if we kind of narrowed it down a little bit so that.
Okay. But you still have all the window managers.
Right, because we're all going to try i3 and
WM for the win.
i3 and awesome.
Do you want to pick this week? Do you want to do the pick Wendy this week?
This is supposed to be fun, Dave. I'm just saying.
Yeah. If anybody
I'm
wants
horrible
to,
for the pick because I stay on something.
But see, we're trying to fix that so you don't.
Yeah.
Wendy.
We don't want you to stay on gigs. That's the point.
we're trying. If anybody wants the
Wendy, just get him another FPS and he'll be fine.
If anybody wants the beta link ISO, I'll put it in YouTube chat.
But yeah, if you guys want to do KDE Neon, I'm good with that.
But I'm serious. Didn't we just do that 2-3 weeks ago?
Yeah, it's like a month ago.
Month ago? Okay.
Did we do Neon? I thought it was Kubuntu that we did.
I think I watched you guys do it a month ago. Yeah.
It was Neon because Michael said, why don't you do Ubuntu?
Then we shouldn't do that.
But this is the beta one, right? So I mean,
that was the rolling we did there. I think it was the rolling or something, wasn't it?
But this is the 1804 base of KDE Neon. So this, this could be a completely different ball game.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because
Yeah, because they were still running the 1604 base, I think, on the last time. If KDE, Neon was chosen even a couple of weeks ago.
That's very true. That is different. That would make it different.
Frank, we'll put the link in for the preview. Zeb, you get the link?
Yeah, I've just popped it in there again.
All right.
Yeah, I had to ask Zeb for the link. Yeah, what was it yesterday? Was it or this morning or something? Because I downloaded the wrong one.
Yeah, I think you did. You downloaded the normal developer edition.
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did. Yes. I couldn't find the. I couldn't find it.
Well, if you want a really racy time, do the unstable developer.
No, don't do that.
That's
No.
fun.
Don't do that.
That's fun. You get an update like every half an hour as someone else within the KDE team has thought of something
You
else.
want to talk about 500 updates? Oh my god.
Are we trying to go after a KDE desktop? Is that
Um,
No, we're doing the Neon
Neon.
beta specifically.
how about
Is that the
Neptune?
957? Is that what the ISO or the current?
It's 05. I think it was 05 or 097 or something like that.
0957, yep.
Are you going to join us,
that's the
Tim?
one, yeah.
I actually might have some time to do that this week. I might. I won't know that until I get into Monday or Tuesday. But yeah,
We've got some work to do here, Rocco. Might.
Yeah,
I'll download it.
That's a definite
I was
maybe.
gonna say we got Barb to try out different distros at this point. So.
I will, but I have a daughter that needs rescuing from work. So, gentlemen and ladies, it has been a pleasure, but I have got to skedaddle. Have a good evening.
All right.
See you, Dave.
Nice one.
See you,
Cheers.
Dave.
What about Neptune?
Neptune.
What
about
Neptune OS?
Are you trying to make it painful or?
I thought that would be the Netrunner suggestion.
Hey, I am
Now,
perfectly
what version
fine
of KDE
if
does Neptune have? Maybe I missed this.
They're I think
Is it
they're
fairly
back on-
current?
No, I don't think so.
Neptune? Yeah, they just had a new release a couple of weeks ago.
They're one of the earlier 512s, I think, though.
No, it's newer than Debian's, so okay.
I'm
Does
down
it
with
crank
that.
up the testing repo?
I might become a future employee of Amazon, so I'm not going to be sure about my time, but I will try.
KDE apps versions 1804.3. I don't know what the actual Plasma version is for Neptune.
Pull it up on DistroWatch.
There's Qt 5.7, KDE Frameworks 5.48. But yeah, it doesn't say. Oh, Plasma got an update to version 5.12.5.
Oh, so the
Okay,
LTS.
so that is pretty good.
Yeah. But they're not on
Yeah, it's-
5.13 yet.
Nope.
Be better than trying to run a beta for a week.
The beta is rock solid.
I'm telling you, this beta is really, really good. It is more solid than the other KDE versions that I've tried that are not beta.
You guys aren't allowed to talk about this anymore because we're doing a challenge now, aren't we?
Oh, by
They're still going to talk about it regardless. It doesn't matter.
But one correction though.
Yes.
You can't distro hop to KDE Neon because KDE Neon is not a distro.
And that's like why it's not an emulator.
Did somebody let Michael in the room here?
It's a compatibility layer.
I think somebody let Michael in here. That's what I think. Mr. Technical. But so before we go, I mean, before we decide, yes, we're going to do that, have Neon be the one. I'm perfectly fine if you guys want to pick something else. If you guys,
just don't ask Matt.
Jeez, I'm already in the
Oh, come on. I chose Budgie this time. Jeez. I gave you a normal one. Just because I run off the beaten path doesn't mean I'm going to make you guys. And who was the one that suggested Sparky?
Sparky's a good distribution.
Sure it is.
Yeah, if you want to spend hours upon hours rebuilding from Debian, it's great.
I still say Netrunner rolling. Just if you want a challenge, just try something different.
That is different.
Okay, so speak now or forever hold your peace.
What was it? Netrunner rolling?
Yeah.
Netrunner
You leaving,
rolling
Simon?
or the beta edition?
It's 2018-08.
See you, man.
There's
See you, Simon.
So Simon's going. Bye, Simon.
Bye.
See you, Simon.
See you, Simon.
So like I said, we got to decide Neon or something else. I'm okay with either.
Mr. GFY keeps suggesting Parrot.
Well,
DistroTube says NixOS.
Come on.
No. Speaking from experience with NixOS, no.
I think we've already done. Didn't we already do Parrot? Because that was one that Barbara actually installed and actually enjoyed.
Yeah.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't do a challenge on that though, did we? I don't believe so. I don't remember doing that. I think she just installed it to try it. I think on her own.
Right, okay.
I don't remember doing that one anyway. To be honest. Well, since you guys have already, this is the way I look at it. You and Zeb and Rocco have already installed KDE Neon. Been running it for Rocco for 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
So how about we go for Netrunner rolling then? I think that's probably a fair choice.
Netrunner rolling is the one based on Arch or Debian?
Netrunner rolling is the one based on Manjaro.
It's based on Manjaro.
Oh, it's based off of Manjaro. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Rocco, I see the oh no in your eye on that.
Hey, look, I don't care if you want it to be bad. If you want to have it, look, we had the first hour of this week to come and talk about Budgie, and it wasn't a pretty picture. If you want next week to be the same thing, let's go with Netrunner. You know.
Well, let's put it this way. I've got KDE Neon ready to install right here, right now. So I'm happy to do that one because...
Okay, Colin, take the safe route. We'll let you do it.
I'm anxious to see what it looks like. But hey, I've got...
Challenge. It's called a challenge for a reason.
All right, well, I'll do both. I'm not fussed. I've got 7 or 8 partitions here. It doesn't bother me.
All right, well, if you want to challenge Joe, Matt, do your worst, mate.
Hey, Joe, go install
You ain't gonna
Chaos
like it.
and see how well that works for you, buddy.
Oh, that's too chaotic.
All right. So okay. So let's put it down to a vote. Who's in favor of KDE Neon or who's in favor of Netrunner?
So let's do Neon first.
Neon first. All right.
Neon.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's your answer.
Good, because I downloaded it already.
Yeah. All right. It's Neon then.
I'm glad you're saying
Okay.
that because I'm about 3/4 of the way downloading it now.
All right. So the next week's challenge will be KDE Neon.
Cool.
And
I will say this: I'm looking at the Netrunner web page on the other computer here, and it does look interesting. But I'm going to do the Neon first.
Mm-hmm.
I actually already downloaded Netrunner. I just haven't tried it out yet. I just didn't install it, so it's sitting there waiting for me to do it.
Zeb, can you post that link again?
Yeah, sure. Just a second. Netrunner actually do.
For me, I really have never had really good luck with KDE, so I'm going to give this one a really good try.
Mm-hmm. But going back to the Netrunner thing, they have always, for me, whichever base they've been, I think they started off with being based on Kubuntu, and then they just add their own touches to it, and it just makes it look really, really nice. And then they jumped on the Arch Manjaro bandwagon and took Manjaro version and added those exact same touches and made it look really, really nice. And then they took over a Debian version and made that look. So whichever one you install with Netrunner, they have their own look and feel and applications that work the way they want it to. And it's a really nice visual experience. It just depends on what base you want to come off of.
So they just need a Fedora version for me.
Yep.
Right?
I don't think that they do a
So I
Fedora
can still
version.
have my nice and shiny, but I don't have the arch broken.
Right? Yeah. Well,
So there's actually 2 that we can download. Is there? There's you're saying there's a Debian based and a Manjaro base. Is that?
Yeah, the
one's
Manjaro
called
base is the rolling.
Netrolling.
Oh, okay.
Manjaro is rolling, and then ordinary Netrunner is based on Debian.
Okay. All right. So we get to choose which one. Well, we're not doing that anyway. We're doing KDE Neon.
So you can only choose if it's KDE Neon.
yeah. Well, what I'm gonna actually download. I'm gonna actually install the Netrunner this week because I already have Neon installed, so I know that's running good, and I'll install Netrunner as well. So
And then you can do a comparison video.
maybe you can do a comparison video. I did a video a long time ago about Netrunner, so You see how well it's kept up.
Kind of like a long time ago.
I don't know. Wow. I mean, you know, you don't have to bring up how long ago it was.
That's kind of like Michael being on time.
That's almost as good as a Solus challenge for a year.
Really, Zeb? Really?
Yeah.
And you worry about me bringing that up.
Telling you what. People just can't let things go, you know what I mean? You say something in passing, you know, and
Not until the 31st of December 2018 I won't let it go, no.
You kind of earned that one, Rock.
Thanks. No, but if anybody, as a second mini challenge, if anybody can figure out, because I surely haven't been able to figure it out, and I'm sure Madhouse would be super thrilled if anybody figured out how to open Dolphin as root. It's got to be a way, because Sousa does it, and you can't do it in any other KD version. Sousa has some.
They really cut that out, didn't they?
Yeah, but Sousa has a workaround that allows that.
Yeah, but they're developers.
Yeah, but all we have to do is figure out what they did and implement it in Neon or whatever KD.
They're not going to tell you, Rocco. They want you to use Seuss.
But that's why I'm asking you to figure it out.
What happens when you try to run Dolphin as root? Does it just because I think I didn't check on the spin we're working on right now, but I think on 5.8 I can still do that. What happens when it doesn't?
Well, no, there used to be a right-click option to open as root.
I'm just saying, even if it didn't matter, if it could do anything, does it check to see if it's running root and then tell you it's not going to run?
If you run sudo dolphin in,
it says it's not possible.
Yeah, it just says it's not running it
evil.
as root is not possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like I said, I know OpenSUSE worked it out where they have it where you can open it as root, but I don't know how they did it or what exactly they did.
And I've just tested it. I've just logged in as root into a terminal, typed Dolphin, and it says executing Dolphin as root is not possible. And
that's exactly right. Yep.
Yep. Same thing in Manjaro too.
So when we want to do global, if we're theming, or it probably doesn't matter in KDE anyway. But I mean, if you wanted global theming, do they add it to the user? Do they add it to the user share, or when you install stuff, or does it add it to the home folder themes?
You're talking about themes, like
yeah.
So they're in user share like all the other themes.
That would be added into user share. So
I think it's a free desktop standard. That's not a GTK or KDE. That's a free desktop standard.
And the reason I'm asking this is because when it comes to, I mean, it's okay for us guys to know that we need to do things in root or whatever, but as a standard user who downloads a new user or, someone who's only been in Linux for a short time, there's probably no reason for them to do that, do you think? I mean, what are the reasons why we want to go into root anyway? I'm asking.
Well, one reason I do it is I have a massive amount of fonts that I want to transfer in the graphical interface.
Right.
And then normally if I do the text or the font add in a separate app, things get screwy. So it is so much easier if I just transfer all of those files in the GUI of my different folders.
Right. Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there are some file transfers within like the hierarchy of Linux that require you to be sudo root whatever in order to actually transfer them, and that definitely helps.
That's not true because they wouldn't have taken it out then. You don't need it at all.
Yeah.
See, I'm wondering why they took it out because
security nightmare.
Why?
Does
Dolphin integrate with Plasma Desktop somehow? I mean, I imagine it probably does. KDE is pretty tight.
Michael was saying there was a conflict.
See, that's what I was wondering. I think it's something, and they didn't really said, but I'm wondering if it's something beyond the usual way you can nuke your system. I don't think it's a nanny state thing. I think they found something that would break if they were running root and they just disabled it.
Well, they had disabled it.
Along those lines.
They disabled it out of the text editor too, but then they added something back into the text editor that you could do it with.
Why would you do it to a text editor?
Yeah, well, they took it out of Dolphin and I don't know if it was Kate or Kwrite, whichever one they were using.
If they did it to a text editor, then it is kind of the nanny state. wouldn't it be?
Well, yeah, text editor would be.
you need it.
But
You need
but
it in
now
text
you
editor.
can't open a file in, like, you can't right click in KDE and open a file as root as a text editor. But if you open the file in, say, Kate, and you save something and it is in a root folder, it will prompt you for the password.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So they made that change. You know,
Right.
they implemented it back in, but they still haven't. Now,
Almost sounds like they're using the PK exec they're using policy kit for this stuff, and they're making internal checks rather than starting the whole app as root. I don't know. That's a guess.
Well, I've just allegedly found a workaround, but I have no idea if it would work and whether or not how to do it. It says you could edit the sources and disable the check, because there's a check apparently that says if UID equals 0, then show executing Dolphin as root is not possible.
Yeah.
So the workaround is edit the sources and disable the check.
Yeah, it's probably in the top level of the executable in the source code, but that's not something your average user is going to go do, because then you have to compile Dolphin. It's not something you're just going to crack open.
All right, next.
That's what I was wondering, if it was in the source or if they were just doing it with policy kit rules, because then you could modify.
No, it's in the
policy
source
kit rules.
apparently.
Yeah, that's trickier. We usually do the trick the other way. We usually check to see if we're running root for some of our tools, and then say restart it as root.
Yeah. Well, it's been an issue for me since they took it out. Now, I did read on the blog of what is his name? I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He's one of the KDE devs, and he said that it was going to be brought back. But that was a couple weeks ago or a month ago or something like that, and it still hasn't been brought back, so I don't know what's going on with it.
Yeah, something about poll kit support in KIO, whatever that means. So that when you do it, it says, oh, hang on a minute, warning, you need to be able to do this as root. Oh, you want to continue? You press continue, and then it pops up the password.
See, that's what they're going to do.
And I also would like to know if you guys have the same issue with the Zeb, you're running it right now. Do you have the same issue with the super key?
Can't you map that with controls? Isn't there a map for that?
Super key works. It opens up the menu.
See, it does not. It does not work for me.
There's a global map for that. I can't remember what it is though.
Alt F1 is the global map.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So if
and
you
it's in there.
If you right click the menu, it's in there. Alt F1. Oh.
Maybe it'll start working. Who knows?
I didn't make any changes either. This is just a straight install. So weird. Again, it just goes to show different keyboards. But then I'm using a Logitech keyboard as well. So don't know. Weird.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Why don't you delete the Alt F1 and then put it back in again? It'll probably work.
Well, I tried that once. It didn't. Now I was on the other menu. The normal KDE menu. I change as soon as I get on it. But I was trying it out, and that's when I found out it wasn't working. And I tried to re-enter it, like you said, and that didn't work. I switched to the application dashboard, which is the full screen menu that I love, and made sure that was in there, and it still didn't work. So I'm not sure.
I had a similar problem where I changed menus and that happened, and I went back, I think, to the original menu that they had, and I changed the original menu, I think, back to Alt F1, and it started working. So whatever menu I actually installed and was running by default, I changed that one, then they all started working. I think that's what I did, because I was messing around with it at one stage there. And
messing around and Rocco, the two words don't mix.
Rocco and installing at Linux OS are two words that usually don't mix.
The other thing that comes to mind with me is, why should you have to mess around with anything? It should work right out of the box.
Well, it usually does, just not for me, Joe. I mean, it usually works for everybody else.
We had this conversation last week. It just works is not a thing.
It really does seem like Rocco's got some gremlins hiding behind his gnome back there.
It shouldn't be, though, man. It should not be. Like I said, this is the hardware that I have is not old. You know what I mean? Like, This is
Exactly. It should be
My
old,
hardware is
like
older
mine.
than your hardware.
right. That's the problem. I should just pick old hardware and just be happy with it, right?
This thing here. What is this? Is a Sandy? And Matt knows because I was just on his chat the other day, his YouTube, and this is my Sandy Bridge era laptop. Is my main development machine. And I always laugh when you guys are talking about all your fancy schmancy hardware, and I'm like using the bargain basement dumpster dive version of a laptop here. But on the other hand, my super key works. So
I was going to say, do you know where the super key works? Probably.
Super key works. Somebody in the chat here was giving you a little grief over, chasing pixels. Oh no, I'm backing Rocco up on this one. My disdain of desktops that don't have working super keys is well known on YouTube. This is like the only thing I check. What did I review when I checked out Budgie? Well, hit the super key and up it came.
Yep.
What did I tell Simon about LXQT? Hit the super key, up it came. Except I think I lied. I don't think it did, but I think it was our fault, not his. So,
you know what?
Well,
my Intel graphics work too. Yeah, on my bargain basement laptop.
Yep, Intel right here, baby.
Yep.
Yes, but you can't play like Ballistic Overkill.
No,
I totally play Ballistic Overkill.
Oh, no,
you do.
Rocco, you are so wrong because I play Ballistic Overkill on the Surface Pro.
That's fake news, Matt. That's fake news.
That's fake news. We'll completely disregard the picture I sent in Telegram.
Fortnite's a little laggy, but
Hold on to
Ballistic
your hats.
Overkill's awesome.
Hold on to your hats. He must have heard what we were talking about.
Dun dun
Oh.
dun.
Da, da, da.
Oh, hey, look.
Last word, hurry up, everybody.
Hi, Michael.
I feel some sort of
fell off his chair when he heard the menu wasn't opening with the Windows button. He's fallen off his chair, Rocco. Look what you've done to him.
I was going to say, Rocco, I tell you, every time we mention plasma or anything KDE related, he shows up.
That's the only reason I should, yeah. That's it.
Yeah, well, Michael, did you hear the challenge this week?
Wait,
No,
just make sure.
definitely not.
Hold something so your head doesn't explode.
Okay.
The hair will keep it in.
KD Neon 1804 preview.
Okay, then.
You gonna do it?
Wow.
No.
What? I mean, no, you're the KD Neon guy.
He means
that is exciting.
Oh, you switched teams. You're on the
production
Ubuntu
machine.
team.
Well,
You're on the
I have
Ubuntu
Neon,
side.
I have a Neon install that I haven't changed in like 2 years, so I'm gonna leave it where it is until it's a stable release, not a preview release.
Where's the fun in that?
I was gonna say, dude, that's like no fun.
Enough, Michael. It's not good enough.
I'm sorry.
How dare you want working hardware?
I can have other drives. I might try it, but it's. I mean, the big difference between Neon is the packages underneath, and I have 513 already. So, like, man,
You know what you could use? You could use that thing you're gonna make a video on.
yeah,
Hannah Montana.
I could totally use that. Which, by the way, that video is coming this coming week.
Really?
What
Yeah.
you mean this?
Yes, that thing. The thing I've been talking about for months and haven't finished the video on.
That doesn't help if it's not in your machine, dude.
It's out of the box. Give me a break.
He's got one step out of it so far. I mean, that's pretty good.
Zeb, did you find
I found the screws.
Nice.
The problem is it's not working out of the box, is it, Zed?
No.
No.
He's been too busy with his monitors. He doesn't.
Well, as soon as he installs it, it'll be working out of the box.
That's an awful expensive paperweight.
Michael, I have a question for you.
42.
I'm on Ubuntu Budgie under Arch Linux, and I've got Menu Libre installed, and I've made a launcher. I've created a launcher in Menu Libre, but when I've gone back into Menu Libre, I cannot find that launcher anywhere. Why would that be? Any idea?
It depends on where you made the launcher. Like, there's sometimes you could create a launcher and it would be put in the lost and found category. So, like, there are times where if you don't create the launcher in the specific category, it will be thrown into like some random category or into like a miscellaneous thing.
No, I put it in System Tools, and I clicked on the System Tools category.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done it twice, and they're both now they are in the launcher. When you hit the menu and type for the actual launcher, it's there, but it's not. I can't find it in Menu Libre. So if I wanted to edit it, I can't find it.
That's really weird. I don't really have an answer for that one at the moment.
No,
I'd have to check
all
it
right,
out.
That's cool. No worries. I just thought
I haven't tried Menu Libre in a while because I've been using the KDE version.
Okay.
It works in KDE.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to try it in KDE, but I just haven't had the time to try it.
If it hasn't got a K in front, Michael doesn't touch it.
It's not necessarily true. Firefox doesn't have a K in front.
Does it's called Falcon? That's an F.
No, that's in the middle. That's in the middle. So it's different.
Michael, did you try Cube lately?
No.
I tried. They have a
email client.
Yeah, they have the Flatpak version out, and I tried it,
really?
And I can't get it to start.
I didn't know they had a version that was actually available yet, so I would definitely try it. Because I want an email client from the KDE team that isn't Kmail.
Well, right now, apparently, the easiest way to install it is through the Flatpak. That's what they recommend. But like I said, it installed fine, but it won't launch. So I don't know what's going on with it.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But it is like super alpha, really. Like I don't even think they even consider themselves using beta yet.
So
it's called test distro. For
has
just
it-
the record.
Has anybody tried Thunderbird 60 yet?
No. Oh well, technically I've used it in the when it was the beta version, not the fully released one.
Am I the only one that can't find the dark theme?
I don't know. I did notice though when I was doing the Solus updates, it came through into Solus. So I might boot into Solus and see if I can find the dark theme.
Yeah, I didn't look for that one.
There's okay, so maybe it's there somewhere to switch to the dark theme because that's like one of the things that it supposedly came out with, but it's not like right out and obvious to me anywhere that says, "Hey, switch to the dark theme."
Yeah, they need to fix their configure settings and stuff.
What's
Their
this thing
settings are
you're
really
talking about?
weird, like multi-levels.
Thunderbird 60 is supposed to have a dark theme with it, and I've been wanting a dark theme for Thunderbird for a while, and some of them are okay, and some of them don't show the text right, and it's always been a hit or miss. But they're supposed to have one built in, and yet I can't seem to find it anywhere. So,
Well,
you
I
have
guess
that.
that's what part of the challenge is. We'll find out if we can find that setting for you.
We got all kinds of challenges. We got KD
Firefox
Neon. We got
challenge.
Dolphin as root. We got.
And away he goes.
Everybody make a list of bugs so we can all forward them on.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week. So everybody gets a last word. Zeb.
Okay, well, my last word this week is going to be more of a congratulations and a huge thank you to my daughter who gave us our 5th grandchild yesterday.
Hey! Congrats.
Both mother and baby are doing well, and he was born at 7 pounds 9.
Nice.
Beautiful.
So
Nice.
really
Congrats,
pleased.
Zeb.
Yeah.
Nice. Joe, last word.
My last word is I got to watch Destination Linux at least this week, and congratulations to the 3. How did you put it? And then there were 3 show, and you guys did a fine job. Although it seemed a little odd, it seemed like when you get a tooth pulled, you got that gap there without Rocco. But it's doing just fine. You guys did a fabulous job, and it was very enjoyable. So congratulations on keeping an awesome show going. Rocco does know that he'll be missed, but as long as he's here, we got him for Ballistic, Overkill, and whatever else we can interact with him. We're grateful to have him for that. But yep, good job, guys, and keep it going.
Nice. Wendy, last word.
Well, the super key works for me on Fedora KDE.
Good for you.
You and Ryan are going to get along just great.
Really? That's so wrong. Dan, do you got a better last word?
Well, bungee jumping went fine for me.
Nice. Matt?
It's Linux. It don't just work.
It's not supposed to. As Derek said in chat, it's Linux. It's supposed to hurt a little.
A little.
Or a lot.
All right, Colin, last word.
Budgie for the win. I don't know. Was it a win this week? Probably not.
No. You know, we should probably, as we talk about these, we should probably do like a final vote or a final thing of how many, had issues and how many it went well for. But maybe that's for another show.
Mm-hmm. And actually, just while it's still my last word, I would like to echo the words of Joe as well. I think Destination Linux is a great format. And yet, miss you, Rocco, on that, but I've been watching it since it started pretty much. But they're wise choice of these guys that are on there running, moving forward. So,
yeah,
it's a great job.
Yep. Keegan?
So the challenge is we're trying to install Budgie over KDE Neon.
I think Michael's head just exploded.
Now that's a challenge.
Yeah. No,
Wow.
Thanks for having me on, and congrats, Seb, and please forward my congratulations to your family.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Frank, last word.
Budgie was an experience, and hopefully this Neon is going to be just as good. I would not use Budgie as a long-term use desktop environment, but hey, anything's possible.
Nice. Dolphin, last word.
All I can say is this week I've learned that making an app image should be easy.
But it's
and
not.
it is easy.
Oh.
As long as you don't need to change your language that the app is running in. Keep an eye on the Twitter feeds. Hopefully you'll be able to make a live USB for MX from Ubuntu soon.
Nice.
Tim, last word.
Well, above all, congratulations, Zeb. Another one to the family. Awesome. Great job. And I'm on Mint 19 Cinnamon and my super key works.
Wow.
Oh, another shot.
You too, Tim.
He's got the good. He's got the bad, everybody.
I don't think there's no surprises there. Sorry,
That's
Rocco.
what he was on last night, though.
My super key works on the live too, I believe.
I'm hoping it's just a bug in whatever I'm doing right now, and it'll work itself out by next week. Because
I was on Mint 19 last night.
Were you?
Yeah, I was on
Good
Mint
job.
19 last night. Yeah,
You know I'm just teasing you, right? I hope so.
Oh yeah, I know. Trust me, I know.
Yeah.
I would look for
Rocco.
Cheez-It crumbs under the keyboard key. That's what I do for my son.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm running Unity. Guess what? Super key works.
Super key does work in Unity.
And with that,
I actually liked Unity. So, all right, last word.
It's kind of
Thank you all for coming. I appreciate every one of you for being in here, being in the YouTube chat. And if you haven't checked that out yet, check out Destination Linux episode 82.
Yeah.
All right. Other than that, that'll be it for us. We'll see you next week.
Take care, gentlemen.
See you, everybody. Bye-bye.